It's called sauce Bordelaise. I love this sauce for everything it brings to a steak. It has the coloration of a full-bodied red wine. It has the depth that comes from the hearty stock base. It keeps a little twang that complements a perfectly cooked steak. Welcome to Food of Love with Chef Dad. You know what to do. Want to make something delicious? Let's get started. If you've ever had a full-bodied Bordeaux wine, you know it's often complex, bold, sometimes spicy, and of course smooth. A few years back, we did a week-long tour of Bordeaux, and we were able to taste some of the most amazing wines accompanied with great food. Naturally, since wine is used in cooking too, the French chefs found a way to use their wine to make a silky smooth and deeply flavorful sauce. If you want to make this recipe the classic way, you're going to want to watch my video on brown veal stock and Fond Lié. There's a link in the description. You may also find that you want to make veal demi-glace or meat glaze. If you don't want to go through all this and use the store-bought versions of veal or beef stock instead, I'll walk you through that too. So we're actually going to make this recipe twice today. If you're cooking your steak sous vide, like I do in my filet mignon video, see the link below, you'll have time to make the sauce during that cook. If you're going to cook your steaks a different way, make sure you understand the timing that this recipe takes and coordinate it for when your steaks are getting done. Also, you can make this ahead of time and put it in the fridge for up to a week or 6 months in the freezer, just rewarm without boiling and serve directly over the steak. A man in a restaurant in Paris asked his waitress, "Can you please show me where the bathroom is?" The waitress says, "Oui, oui." He says, "No thanks, I just need to wash my hands." For the classic Bordelaise sauce, the ingredients are pretty straightforward, as you can see on the list. The one thing that you won't have on hand is Fond Lié. Food of Love begins well before you apply heat to anything. You're going to want to cut your shallots finely. They'll brown better that way. I use ghee for the shallots because it has a high cooking temperature and doesn't burn. It's also edible by people with milk allergies. And third, it smells so good. For the cognac, you don't need to go nuts, but you also want a moderate quality that's not sweet. So you really want to avoid flavored cognacs for this reason. The red wine you're going to want to use is obviously super important. You want a real Cabernet Sauvignon or Merlot, and not a cheap cooking wine. Classically, it's said that you should cook with the wine you're going to drink. I think that's a little bit of hyperbole and a bit of a crime if you have really good wine. You need a wine with sufficient body to reduce to a thick syrup. I routinely use a full-bodied generic red wine that we get from our local big box store. Freshly ground pepper is the way to go. You won't get the same aroma and flavor profile without it. Use whatever salt you prefer. You're not going to be able to taste the flavored salt here. Leave that for the table. Finally, you really can't have too many fresh herbs. They add so much flavor. You want to mince them finely, and to do so, they need to be washed and fully dried. Make sure your knife is sharp and really hit them hard. Otherwise, they're going to bruise instead of be cut. All right, so let's heat the ghee on low-medium heat in a 2-quart saucepan. We're going to add the shallots, salt, and pepper, and we're going to let them caramelize. This is going to take 10 minutes or longer, but spend the time. You don't want to walk away from this as they might burn. It'll bring the sweetness out of the shallots, and when evenly caramelized, we're going to deglaze with our cognac. You're welcome to Flambé now if you're so inclined. It also puts on a good show for the guests. Once the flames have died, add the red wine and turn off the burner. Now we're going to use a hand mixer, and we're going to blend at the highest setting until we get all of those shallots finely emulsified. Then we're going to restart the burner, and on a low simmer, reduce till we get to about half a cup. This might take 20 minutes or more. The classic answer, by the way, is to not use a hand blender, but to reduce and then strain the liquid so that you don't get any of the shallots to come with. I started using a hand mixer because it adds a little bit more substance to the sauce, and I really like the texture. Now finally, we're going to add the Fond Lié on low heat. You can see it's a little gelatinous. We're going to mix it thoroughly for about 10 minutes until the Fond Lié is completely incorporated. And we're going to finish now by adding the finely chopped herbs, the lemon juice, and taste for seasoning. You're going to end up with about a cup, and you're probably only going to use several tablespoons per steak, so you might have a little left over, which again you can put in the freezer or the fridge. What do you call leftover French cuisine? Déjà food. Now you say you don't have the time, the patience, the energy, or interest in making your own homemade veal stock or Fond Lié. I get it, it's a commitment. Let's make another Bordelaise now, this time using store-bought veal stock instead of Fond Lié. The ingredients are very similar, and notably, instead of using Fond Lié, you use a little bit more veal or beef stock and add a little tomato paste to add a little body. If you can, find veal or beef stock from your butcher or Italian or French market or online, as you'll get a much better result than one that comes from a box. So we're going to start out the same. We're going to heat the ghee on low-medium heat in a 2-quart saucepan. We're going to add the shallots, salt and pepper, and caramelize them. This will take 10 minutes or longer, but again, spend the time. When evenly caramelized, we're again going to deglaze with cognac, and we're going to feel free to flambé if you're willing. Then we're going to add the red wine, and we're going to reduce this to half a cup. It's going to take 20 to 30 minutes. Now we're going to mix that tomato paste with the stock that we have. We're going to add this to the saucepan. We're going to turn off the heat. Now we're going to bring out the stick blender, and we're going to blend on the highest setting until the shallots are all emulsified. Now we're going to restart the burner and reduce this till you have about a cup to a cup and a half. Taste for salt now and add as needed. You can also add now a half teaspoon of veal demi-glace. Now this is a little bit thin, so we're going to thicken it. We're going to combine our flour and extra ghee. If the ghee is too solid, put it near the cooking surface and it'll start to absorb some of the heat and thin out. We're going to slowly add the flour ghee mixture to the sauce for additional thickening and allow this to cook for another 3 minutes. The sauce should be glistening now, sticking to a spoon and velvety. Now we'll add our remaining fresh herbs and combine. You should have about a cup and a half. I tried to make a joke about Bordeaux, but it was too dry. All right, on my left, I have the Bordelaise made with Fond Lié. On my right, I have the Bordelaise made with veal stock. So let's pour this on. Look at this beauty. And this beauty. I'm going to start with the way I used to do it, with the veal stock. The taste of the veal stock is so deep. It's salty, it has a little bit of a wine twang. The meat is perfect. You can do this all day long. Now, I have to have it with a sip of wine. Oh, that's lovely. But we're not done yet, because now I have the Bordelaise made with the Fond Lié. And I think this is going to be next level. The color is much redder, much more like a Bordeaux. Oh my God. It's way more winey. A little bit of lemon juice makes everything a little bit brighter. Sublime. and with a glass of wine. Even better.